Hello people, and welcome to Crypto Exposed. Elizabeth Warren seeks public disclosure about David Sachs's investment in XRP, Bitcoin and Cardano. Okay guys, let's get into it. Okay, so I'll be honest with you, before we even get into what she's saying here, I have to say this is a bit of a pot calling the kettle black, if I'll be completely honest, because Elizabeth Warren, as far as I can see, she was basically Gary Gensler's puppet master. She basically used Gary Gensler as the attack dog in the SEC to help in her a war on crypto. Basically, I actually think she was one of the main people who was so against crypto. And when she was being fought for a position by John Deaton. John Deaton was saying, hey, look at these things that you've done. Like, you're so against crypto. And she was, he was basically putting her on the spot. And in the end, she did win. And, that's fair enough. I think at the end of the day, as good as a person John Deaton is important to the XRP community. But then when you put it out to a wider scale, I think that's the thing where, he fell short. Whereas obviously Elizabeth Warren has been around for years. She's got a huge base. She had a lot more funding and that kind of stuff. So, it was unfortunately a futile effort, but I respect the fact that he tried, and he wanted to do good. So at the end of the day, like, Elizabeth Warren, from what I can see, she's very corrupt. And to be honest, like, she's someone who manipulates markets, right? Like, there was actually a meeting that Gary Gensler had, and I think it was when Congress were grilling him, right? And basically there was going to be questions that Elizabeth Warren was going to ask. And she actually emailed him the comments and the questions beforehand, so he knew what to how to prepare his answers. So there's definitely corruption going on here. Like, there's definitely shadiness. So Elizabeth Warren saying this is it's a bit rich, to be honest with you. But look, I want to get into the deeper question about this, right? Because for me, we're in this bull run now, right? And I have to question how this bull run is now going to play out, because I've been watching Blockchain Backer recently, because the markets have been a bit up and down, and he's been saying something, and I've been thinking about this myself personally, but he's saying, when he was trying to figure out what was going in the markets due to Trump's announcements of the US strategic reserve and stuff when the news first come out, and then the huge drop, he was trying to figure out okay, how much of this is organic and how much of this is not fake, but it's coming basically off of Trump's actual news rather than the charts was already saying this, right? Because with chart readers, what they basically say, they live by this saying, which basically goes like this. It's, show me the charts and I'll tell you the news, which basically means they're looking at the charts and then they just look for a narrative that supports what the charts are going to do. Whereas a lot of other people think the news is what drives the charts, right? But they're not thinking that. They think it's actually the charts that are already in play, and then something comes out to support what way the charts are going to go. Now, Blockchain Backer was actually saying, during this whole time with what's been going on with the markets being so up and down because of President Trump, he's basically been saying, I'm trying to figure out if some of this is what was going to happen on the charts already, organically, or if this is actually a reaction to the news. And this is something that I was thinking about. And look, I'm not here to be that this time is different kind of guy, but I do think we have to acknowledge that we are in unprecedented times right now, right? We have, for the very first time, a US president who is pro-crypto. And he can move the markets with the things that he will say, because, when he announced a US strategic reserve with XRP and stuff like that, the markets were going crazy, right? And then, later on, we saw a few days later that the reserve, when it came out, wasn't quite as good as he made it out to be, right? And the markets kind of plummeted when they found out what the reserve was actually going to be, which was basically the US stockpile for altcoins, and then there was going to be a separate US Bitcoin strategic reserve. And so, I don't know if you guys are aware of this, but basically, it came out that when this news came out, well, just before this news came out about the US strategic reserve with XRP, Cardano, and Solana, There was a whale who purchased like 50 million. I don't know what crypto it was. I don't know if it was a few, but we're talking obviously Bitcoin, XRP, Cardano, Solana. Like it was some of those, or it was Bitcoin. I can't remember exactly, right? 50 million put on for a leveraged long play, which basically means they've leveraged, which means they've put a load of extra money on, which is, it's basically gambling essentially, right? Because the exchanges are giving you more money. And then what happens is if you get it right, your money is worth more. So although he put 50 million on, if you leverage it, you could be essentially be leveraging it to be that 50 million could be like 70 million, right? And so if it goes higher, you've effectively gained even more money. But it's a gamble, because if it goes lower, you could get completely wiped out and lose the whole 50 million. Even though, let's say you didn't effectively drop 50 million, you might drop, let's say 30 million, but the exchanges will say, well, now you're getting into risky territory. So they just wipe your whole account. And so my question has been lately when I've seen this is this bull run going to be affected due to, Trump affecting the market so much? Because look, as I was saying, I haven't finished my thought yet, but let me get that out first. Like, as I was saying, there was a whale who put a 50 million long leverage play on crypto just before the announcement came out. And then the announcement came out, obviously the markets were flying. Then the next day something came out that was negative about the markets, and guess what? That same person who leveraged the 50 million for the long started shorting the crypto, right? So he made a load of money on the way up, and then he started shorting the market, and then, Trump brought out this news that was negative, and they made a load of money on the way down as well. Now, to perfectly time something like that with so much money, that I'm not even gonna lie, like the most logical answer to that is insider trading. That's the most logical answer that you can say. I'm not gonna say it as a fact because I can't say it for 100%, but I'm 99% sure that that's gonna have been insider trading. So I say that to say this. I'm just gonna be completely real here. I do think that like Trump is manipulating the markets to make money. I do believe that, if I'll be honest with you. And so the question for me is, could Trump really affect this bull run and the flow of it because he keeps manipulating the markets to keep making money? Right? Because if he's got people doing insider trading all the time, and then he just keeps, messing around with the market, saying good things, then bad things, good things, then bad things, and they're leveraging for a long play, then they're shorting just to keep making money. Like, I'm assuming that's going to really mess up the chart structure, right? So let's just say, for example, let's just say the charts were set for, let's just say XRP, because that's obviously the topic of the video. Let's say XRP was set by the charts to go off in a week's time, right? So let's just say that's where the charts, telling us is going to happen. And let's say that was a fact. Let's say that was actually going to happen. So let's just say before that week actually comes, let's just say that, Trump drops this, negative announcement, right? Because he wants to short the market. So let's just say there's some insider trader going on there. They're ready to short the market with a whole load of money again. Trump says something negative to rock the market, right? And so, like that knocks the bull run that was in play for it to take off, right? And that could mess up the charting structure. So now it could be like, oh, well, we was ready to take off, but, we've had this news that's caused a huge sell-off. So now, like we're not going to be able to take off next week now. Like the structure's all messed up. So we've got to, like figure it all out and, regroup. And so, if he just keeps doing this continuously to keep making money, like, is that just going to mess up the whole chart and affect the whole bull run? I'm just questioning that. And so, look, I don't know. Like, from a lot of analysts that I do see speaking about all this, they are saying that the bull run is still in play. So, hopefully this isn't going to be a thing where it's going to be too affected to a point where it just completely throw the bull run off. But, if you have got someone who has this much power to move the markets, like we're talking about the US president, right? Like the most, let's not even beat around the bush. It's the most important president of all countries because it's America, the biggest economy. So when he's doing things, you know, like it is, we can see those moving markets. Like, you know, Blockchain Backer was saying this as well. Like, ever since Trump's got in office, like the markets have just, like, you know, for the 4 years when the Democrats were in, like, the markets were pretty much like the general expectation of what you would see from, you know, the general crypto market. But since Trump's got in, like, there's never been a weekend where it's been dull. Like, there's been mad price action, whether it's going high or low. Like, it's been very sporadic. And so that's not like your typical, flow of the market. And it's because there's so much going on, right? Like, Trump is a pro crypto president, but he seems to be kind of messing around a little bit, right? With the news and stuff. Cause, you know, he originally made out like this strategic reserve was going to be really positive, and then like it came out that it really wasn't as great as what it sounded. So it's like what's happened to some of the things that you originally said though? Because that's kind of contradicting some of the things that you'd said. So it's like, did you just say that because you knew the markets was going to rally? So it's like, let me just put this out, you know, get a quick pump, and then yeah, once they find out the truth, that will cause a dump. Great, we'll make some money on the way up. We'll make some money on the way down. Do you see what I'm saying? And if he just keeps doing stuff like this, and even just other things like, you know, the tariffs, like he mentioned putting on tariffs, but now he's talking about pausing the tariffs. So it's like, which one is it? Like, you're doing tariffs, then you're taking tariffs off, and it's like, it's causing an absolute frenzy in the markets because, you know, at one point the markets are in turmoil because these tariffs are being put on, and it's like causing huge trade wars. But then you say, oh, I'm going to put a pause on the tariffs. And it's like, well, why? You know, like what's with the uncertainty? You're either doing it or you're not. And so it does again make me question, is he just playing with the markets? You know, is he just keep doing this stuff to really keep playing with the markets, and he's just making a whole load of money on both ends? So I just thought I'd share this because, you know, like, I don't know. I'd like to think that the bull run will be fine overall. I'm hoping that's the case because we've waited so long for this to come. And I'd hate for this to end up being ruined because of this, of all things, because we're so close, you know, like we're halfway there. Do you know what I mean? Like we've got a lot of good price action, and XRP is in a great place right now compared to where it has been over the past like 4 years, but we're not quite there. We're not quite there. And if that like gets spoiled due to this, like it's going to be really frustrating. Do you know what I mean? Because while this price action is good, I know it can do better. You know, I really believe it can do a lot better in this bull run. So I don't want that to be squashed, you know, after we've had to wait this long for it. So, you know, it swings and roundabouts, right? Because it's great to have a pro crypto president. That's one thing that I'm not gonna knock that at all. That's great. But, you know, now it's like, whether we've got to accept the expense of low markets just being very uncertain because it's up and down now due to market manipulation. So, you know, I just thought I'd share this. I don't know which way it's going to go. Hopefully, you know, it's fine. A lot of analysts who do watch, they are all saying that the bull run's still in play. So if you was to give me a guess, I would say it's still fine. But we have to see what Trump is going to keep doing from here. Like, and so far he's been very sporadic. So who knows how it's going to be. But yeah, just sharing my thoughts, and we'll see how things go. Thank you very much for watching this. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. And hit that bell. Take care.